This young guy just received shocking news that day that caused him to almost go faint. His boss informs him that there's a fishing event the next day which happens to be a Sunday. Sunday should be his day off, actually, so he complains to his boss that he has never fished before and he doesn't have any gear. Sadly, his boss is not ready to listen to him, he doesn't even care nor ready to pay for the overtime. Oh, lest I forgot, the name of the young man is Sanada Shiro and he is 24 years old. He works in a black company and no matter how hard he works no one rewards nor congratulates him. The pay is also underwhelming and so Shiro has decided to quit this frustrating job and find a new one. The next day, surprisingly, Shiro finds himself in a completely strange world. Wait, isn't he going fishing? And that is not a river, let's wait and see what's going on, guys. Shiro himself is totally amazed to see himself in that foreign country, making him wonder if he's died and reincarnated into another world. Then, he begins to recollect how he met with his boss and other participants that morning, and how they got in the boat and started fishing. Then, he caught a flounder which spoke to him. Suddenly, a black hole in the sea opened and sucked him in. It is then that Shiro realizes he just landed into another world, though he doubts that at first. While still contemplating, a group of soldiers appears before him and without thinking, they point their spears at him, accusing him of being a collaborator with a royal family. No! This young man is just an employee of a black company, but these soldiers aren't ready to listen. While at that, Air Captain arrives and promises not to kill him, but he has to satisfy them and they forcefully drag him with them. Come to think of it, how does he understand their language? It's another thing to anticipate. Shiro is taken to one of the empty cells and no matter how much he tries to escape, these women won't let go of him. Oh! I forgot to tell you the soldiers are women, you should see that, right? Yes, in this foreign country, strangely, the soldiers are all women. Yes! They are very strong and their strength amazes Shiro. These soldiers ask Shiro to do something nasty like licking their private parts. They take turns in exploring his body using magic and Shinro remains helpless as he could only stare at them. Luckily for him, another woman of high rank walks into the cell and while she speaks these soldiers panic. She orders them to get back to their post and instructs Shiro to get dressed up. Wait! She didn't even sanction them for their illicit act, I guess it's a normal thing in their own country. Anyways, there's another guest in the cell, Princess Christia, and her hands were handcuffed. Shiro, seeing the way she dresses, wonders why an important person like her will be in prison. Shiro admires her beauty and vibes so much. He even likens her vibe to that of Oju-sama vibes. Meanwhile, the soldier that brought her makes fun of her, telling her she is only barking as the royal captain has fallen. She is a princess but the soldier never treats her like one. The soldier leaves the duo behind as she slams the door. However, the princess feels so down about her present situation. Seeing that, Shiro moves closer to her and asks how he could be of service. The princess is kind of nice to Shiro and he thinks of asking her some questions. Firstly, he asks where they were and the princess jokingly replies that they are in prison but later tells him they are in Rejalta, the royal capital of the kingdom of Rejalta. Frustrated, Shiro narrates how he is sent to this strange world without his consent. He also introduces himself and how he is forced to go fishing by his horrible boss. Before he could finish his story, Christia placed his head on her two soft watermelons. She didn't believe his story, she thinks he must have had an awful experience to have been narrating such a fantasy story as if real. Nevertheless, Shiro enjoys resting on the princess' chest and wishes to remain just like that for a long time. Shiro asks again if there's no man in the country because he hasn't seen one since he arrived in the country. The princess then narrates that they are currently in wartime and so the men must have been hiding because otherwise they would be abducted by imperial soldiers just like him. Furthermore, in this mysterious country, men cannot be soldiers and also in the country they fight, the Empire of Lurgoa. The one that shocks Shiro most is that men cannot use magic and they are physically inferior to women. A man is a feeble being. Will Shiro be able to survive in this world? Let's continue with the story. Now let's review Shiro's life before transportation. At the fishing event ordered by his boss, on that day which happens to be his day off, Shiro finds a flounder in the sea and he's happy he's gonna be the first to catch a fish. Unfortunately for him, the flounder could speak and he was ready to grant one of his wishes. Funny enough, the flounder knows his name and he knows one of his wishes is to become crafty, like being able to make all kinds of things sound fun. Before Shiro could comprehend what the flounder is trying to say, a black hole appears and swallows him up. Afterwards, Shiro finds himself in another world and now in this world men cannot even use magic. It's like the flounder just tricks him into this strange world but Shiro is sure that the flounder gives him magic. The princess asks where Shiro comes from and he tells her he is from a country called Japan and it's an island country surrounded by the sea with a population approximately 126 million. It's an economic powerhouse with advanced industry, science, and technology. But with all Shiro said, the princess still thought he's only telling a story. Sadly, the princess has just 3 days left before her execution and she will be spending all that with Shinro in the prison. Shiro asks her if she could use magic as well, to which she replies that she's one of the best 5 users of offensive magic in the country, but she wouldn't be able to use it since her hands are handcuffed. The handcuffs are special handcuffs which seal magic, so she wouldn't even be able to use even her physical strength. The thought of being able to escape using magic runs into Shiro's head and he asks the princess what the process of using magic consists of. The princess then explains that the young ones begin by deeply introspecting and gazing at their own characteristics. Shiro grabs the process immediately and tries it out. Fortunately, a panel appears right in front of him consisting of different creation magic. Shiro instantly believes the flounder isn't lying about him obtaining magic. Confused, the princess wonders what Shiro has been staring at for that long. Shiro wants to show her the panel, but she just goes through it and then he realizes he's the only one seeing it. So, he just tells her that it looks like he can use magic too. With a pitiful look, the princess gives her a hug telling him to stop his foolishness and that he can't use magic so he should pull himself together. But you know what, Shiro didn't hear any of that, he just enjoys the feeling from those soft watermelons Christia places his head on and wishes she will have her way with him. After that, Christia suggests they get some rest and she lies down immediately. Shinro isn't so happy about this and he bids the 2 watermelons farewell till they meet again. After a few seconds of lusting, he comes back to his senses and decides it's the right time to look into his magic. He decides to go for the water production as a try and instantly it appears on the panel. He has just 30 minutes for the production and then he will level up. Unsure, he did what the princess told him earlier about introspection and gazing at himself. Without casting any spell, the magic is activated and the time for the creation begins to count, meaning the production will be automatic even if he can't concentrate with the magic, it's not a problem. Abruptly, he discovers his vomit from earlier is still there and the smell is getting pretty bad. He is irritated by the unsanitary conditions of the prison and worried they might catch some contagious diseases. He wants to create a rag with magic, but the production time is going to take a while. He takes a glance at Christia and he sees that she is still sleeping. He then unbuckles his belt and begins to remove his trouser. Oh my god, what is he trying to do? Shiro reflects on what must be going on in the world he came from. Probably there will be a commotion on the fishing boat about his disappearance and even his parents will be worried by now. Shiro is so consumed with the doubt of him not returning to his world that he begins to weep. And he weeps the more when he realizes he is just about wiping his vomit with his pant. Oh, poor Shiro. While still at that, his cry awakens Christia and she feels pity for him again. She hugs him from behind and Shiro talks about how he feels so sorry for the princess. Those words actually make Christia feel really good and she decides to give Shinro a treat. Unfortunately for him, the panel pops up again and the production time for the water is completed and he needs to specify where the water will appear. Shiro doesn't see the panel so she thinks he's been modest and holding back. He points at the place where the water will appear and at the same minute, splash! The water appears there. Christia cuts short this act and makes him lie skin to skin with her. Afterwards, Christia sleeps off again and Shinro wishes they could just get her handcuff removed so that she can use her magic, probably that will save her from being executed in the next 3 days. The second night of the duo in prison, Christia decides to try out her physical strength and so she breaks the bunk with a hit from her leg. Her hope rises again to live after lying with Shiro. She decides to sever her wrist with the broken wood so that she will be able to use her magic. She tells Shinro she will destroy as much bone of her wrist as possible and after that he should tear off the remaining flesh and skin. Hearing that, Shiro trembles and begs her not to be hasty, promising he will find a way to get rid of the handcuffs. Shiro begs her to wait for 1 hour, 54 minutes, and 30 seconds for the creation of his magic to be completed. Though Christia didn't believe him, knowing that men don't use magic in their world, she agrees to wait since they will be escaping in the middle of the night. When it's 27 minutes left, Christia isn't willing to wait any longer and she wonders how Shiro even knows the time without hearing the bell. In response, he shows her his wristwatch. Christia becomes so restless and out of frustration she says she wouldn't wait again. Shiro tries to devise a means of stopping her and without thinking he says they should make love to each other in order for him to have courage to tear off her wrist. Without hesitation, Christia takes off her clothes and rashly, they make love. Coincidentally, the time for the production is completed at the same time they are done making love. With all confidence, Shinro stretches out his palm as a designated place of appearance for the magic. Surprisingly, a file appears on his palm and Christia is completely shocked and literally dumbfounded to see that. Shiro then narrates how he has been working on a file since the previous day with his magic creation and he made it to cut off the handcuffs on Christia's hands. Christia almost tears up hearing that. Out of disbelief, she concludes that he is a woman. How is that even possible when you just make love to each other now, don't you see? I guess the young lady is confused to see a man for the first time use magic. Shiro is able to break the handcuffs with the file and instantly, Christia uses her magic to cause the soldier to sleep and not to awake until morning. She tries out her physical strength and it's working as usual. The display of Christia's strength and magic are just so amazing. Finally, they were able to get themselves out of prison. They decided to take a secret passage underground the chapel in the prison to get out of the castle while Christia takes care of the guards. Christia then informs him they will be leaving the country by sea. See again? That got Shinro a bit scared. After escaping the castle through the underground passage. No matter where they look, there's only the sea. Moreover, they are spotted several times by Imperial soldiers once they arrive at the fishing harbor, but Christia wipes them out like a demon each time. Later on, they hijacked an innocent fishing man boat and sailed triumphantly at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night. Christia is so skilled in handling the boat so they are safe. Shiro also makes pot and water with his magic and again plans on making bread so they could have something to feed on. Now, all thanks to Shinro, they will be able to survive and this makes Christia call him her guardian angel. Unexpectedly, as they sail through the sea, they come across an island. The duo comes down from the boat and lie on the sand. They are able to get some pawpaw from the island to feed on. Afterwards, Christia suggests that they scout the surroundings if there are any inhabitants and if not, that means it's a deserted island and they should be expecting monsters to soon show up. Christia then asks Shiro to mount on her and they both fly in through the sky with the help of magic. They spend half a day going around the island and they find out that only slimes are monsters present there. After the long walk, they decide to eat the pawpaw they got from the island at the beach. Surprisingly, Shinro presents the bread he made from magic and that really got Christia amazed. They keep moving in search of a cave but it looks like they won't find any. Christia then decides they will pierce the rock and create a cave themselves. Shinro goes back to the beach to get the food while Christia creates a well-furnished room with her magic. Christia decides to join the border garrison at Bawanda Castle. According to the latest information she has, the Bawanda Citadel troops dealt a heavy blow to the Imperial Army and forced it to retreat. They are in a combat situation and they have fertile fields within the sturdy walls and a stockpile that will last 10 years. So that will be a safe place for them. They gather palm fronds to make beds and also Shiro tries to make a harvesting bag with magic. Christia tells Shiro that once they escape the island, fighting is inevitable so they need to remain vigorous. Hearing that, fear dominates Shiro's emotions and he begs Christia to leave him there on the island because he will be nothing but useless in a fight and he's not willing to get in Christia's way. Christia emotions reach their peak listening to all Shiro says and she hugs him so tightly. Before they know it, the magic creation of the harvesting bag is completed and Shinro's creation magic level increases to 2. With this, he can make the things he didn't have enough for before. The following morning, they both prepare for Christia's departure and Shiro creates with magic things she might be needing for her journey. Christia also catches a big boar using a magic arrow and drains its blood. With the help of Christia's magic, they are able to smoke the meat. Afterwards, they made sweet love with each other. The next morning, Christia sets out to leave and she leaves by sea using a boat. Shiro stares at the boat until it's no longer in view. After that, he decides to get busy by himself by making things like pot, fishing rod, mirror, soap, and others in order to level up his magic quickly. Shockingly, Christia is back from the trip and she's lying helplessly by the seashore. Shiro out of fear thought it was a shipwreck, but would you believe Christia came back so quickly so she could see Shiro again, and for that reason, she quickly defeated the empire, restored the kingdom, and that very same day she swam back. She entrusts the kingdom to someone else so she could build their empire together with Shiro on that island. Shiro is super excited to hear that. No way! Shinro is just hallucinating about seeing Christia. He has missed her so badly that he dreams of seeing her in his sleep. He suddenly realizes how much he has been overly conscious of the fact that he relied on Christia for a lot of things. He is even afraid to sleep alone in the cave as he couldn't find a way to build a door for the entrance. 1 hour later, after having a nap during the day, he decides to get preparation done in building a door. He has been to create a spear with his creation magic and then he makes a pseudo door from trees. He also makes rice in the soup he misses from his world. 5 days later, in the 3 days following Christia's departure, Shiro made all kinds of things and finally his creation magic reached level 3. Instantly, he creates a stone golem to which he can talk to. Its eyes occasionally glow green and on top of that, it can lift things weighing up to 500 kilograms. Shiro consequently names it Iwao and shows him around even though he hasn't spoken to him. Next, Iwao keeps staring at a distance beyond the forest and Shiro doesn't understand what he is pointing at. It is later that he gets to know that he has foreseen a ship approaching them. From afar, Shiro perceives the people on the ship to look like the female soldiers in Rejalta. He then orders Iwao to go back to protect the cavern while he observes the ship. Iwao could actually hear him and he ran back immediately. Different thoughts of whom these strange people might be kept creeping into Shiro's mind. Finally, they arrive at the seashore and begin to scout the island. These strangers are already planning to make this place their hideout and that makes Shinro discover they are pirates trying to find themselves a hideout from the navy. Shiro returns back to the cave and decides to leave the cave to hide in the mountain knowing it's just a matter of time before the pirates find that cave. He plans to run away with Iwao as well. Unfortunately, this won't work because he just gets caught by one of the pirates while trying to escape. Right away, the pirate calls on others announcing that he just found a man. As if they had been expecting the news, the other pirates appear before him and they watch him and his rock puppet in amazement. Shiro threatens the pirates with his stone golem and so they decide to confront him, but one of the pirates who happens to be their captain and also a former navy officer, Cecily, orders them to stop and not assault him. She then assures Shiro that they are not there to harm him but to look for water and meat and once they get that they will leave. Cecily's act gets two of the pirates a bit angry and they regard her as being pretentious and call her a pervert. Unknown to them, one of them called Janice has been listening to them and calls them idiots for speaking too loud for the captain to hear them. She then informs them she has a secret plan to have their way with Shiro. Up next, Shiro gets torches as weapons for Iwao and instructs him to stop the pirates if they attempt to come into the cave. He also gets weapons for himself and his creation magic level is almost 4. Shiro is now in full armor. Suddenly, he heard a loud noise and wondered what or who it might be. The captain is enjoying her sleep when Janice rushes to her and announces that something terrible has happened. The captain follows suit immediately to see what's wrong and she finds out that 4 of the pirates have been affected by disease. The captain, Cecily, feels innocently worried about them and decides to turn one of the cabins in the boat into a sick room and seal it off. With a pitiful look, she turns her back for them to get on so she can help them to the boat. Unexpectedly, one of the pirates moves wobbly towards her and then stabs the captain in her back. Thereafter, we know it was Janice's plan and she calls the captain by her name saying they have all agreed she's not fit enough to be their captain so they are getting rid of her. Suddenly, Cecily struck the ground and there was a great storm. Within a moment, they can't find her again. With a smile on Janice's face, she encourages others not to worry that Cecily will kick the bucket soon. She then orders the other pirates to return to the ship while they tell others there that Cecily and company caught a disease. One of the pirates isn't very comfortable with the idea but Janice shouts at her announcing herself as the new captain. She also gives orders that the 2 that oppose her be killed. Subsequently, in Shiro's cave, Iwao begins to make some funny sounds outside and Shiro comes out to see what's wrong. Upon coming out, he is surprised to see Cecily moving towards the castle and she's badly injured. Shiro doesn't move an inch from where he stands until Cecily mutters some words asking him to help her and before he knows she falls to the ground. With Iwao's help they carried her into the cavern and placed her on the bed. He discovers that she has a wound in her thigh and her back too. Cecily manages to tell Shinro she was betrayed by her subordinates but he never minds her as he worries about getting her treated. Seeing that, Cecily tells him she is putting her magic into physical strengthening in order to help the wound heal faster. They got to know each other's names. It was after that Shiro sensed that they should stop her bleeding first. He cuts her clothes with a knife and ties a piece of clothes around her thigh. Her magic already did an incredible job by minimizing the loss of blood seeing that the wound is a big one. 3 days later, Shiro made another stone golem. Iwao for home security and the other for food gathering and water drawing. This helps Shiro creation magic reach level 4. Shiro goes back to check on Cecily and he's surprised she's yet to wake up but her breathing is normalized. Shiro lustfully stares at her 2 big watermelons which are a bit bigger than Christia's. He quickly comes back to his senses cautioning himself not to look at an injured person like that. He takes a step back and decides to get his beard shaved with the triple blade razor he created with his magic. After a few seconds, Cecily wakes up and lifts herself up a bit from bed. She stares shockingly at Shiro and later feels a bit embarrassed. Cecily is actually embarrassed to see Shiro shaving. Really? What's embarrassing about seeing a man shave? I thought she was embarrassed because of the unbecoming state she is. She's even hiding behind the bed and apologizing to Shiro for peeping at him. Something's odd about her. Anyways, let's continue with the story. Shiro continues shaving and Cecily again cautioned him to stop shaving in front of a woman, but Shiro never sees anything wrong with that. I guess Cecily is just an innocent pirate. Shiro afterwards makes her a cup of mango juice and asks her to take it slowly since she hasn't eaten for days. Meanwhile, it's hurt whenever Cecily raises her arm to take a sip. Shiro then offers to feed her. She is reluctant at first, but Shiro tells her injured people should listen and be obedient. After feeding her, Cecily appreciates him for his kindness. Shiro teases her a bit before she goes back to sleep and he enjoys teasing her. Shiro worries about making things Cecily will be needing, and that will also help his creation magic increase. 6th day after Cecily arrived at the cavern, Shiro suggests they change the bandages after she is done eating. Cecily confesses that the pain is gone and probably her wound is healed, but Shiro still insists on checking. True to her words, the wound has healed, just a terrible itch left. Cecily decides to show Shiro her gratitude somehow, so she asks her to ask for whatever he wants. Shiro asks the unbelievable, take a few seconds to think of what he might ask of. Let's cut the chase. This young man asks Cecily to take him as her husband. Cecily is so shocked and frustrated at the same time, but Shiro is just teasing her. He has come to like her reaction anytime he teases her like that. Shiro then asks her to teach him how to steer a boat since he is planning to build a canoe. On the contrary, Cecily tells him she will build the canoe instead within a day and all she will be needing is a knife. Soon, they set out with the 2 stone golem to get the materials for the canoe. She then realizes her subordinates had left the island. They branch to the sea beach to check if they are truly gone and they find no one. Shiro then decides to do some fishing while guided by his 2 stone golems like some kind of VIP. While he is fishing, Cecily already goes to look for a log for the canoe and she finds a nice one. However, Shiro out of worry calls her an idiot, thinking her wound might open up again by carrying a log like that on her shoulder. Without hesitation, she begins to burn the wound and scrape afterwards. Shiro thought of making dinner while Cecily built the canoe but became worried again because it's not possible to make what he desires at his magic creation level. Just then, his hook caught a big fish. Now he's got something to prepare for dinner. He quickly gets back to the cave and prepares name soup, which he is sure will taste delicious. When the soup is done, Shiro calls Cecily to come have dinner and he is like, honey, dinner is ready. That name shocks Cecily and he tells him they are not married so he shouldn't call him that. Cecily then has a taste of the soup and funny enough she just collapses with a nosebleed from excitement. I think the soup tastes so good. Now, Shiro has become proficient with creation magic. His creation magic is now level 5 and he's happy his bread production has leveled up to 2. The next day, Cecily is done with building the canoe. She actually built it in a day like she said, and that amazes Shiro. She has taught Shiro the basics of using the canoe and so they get on the boat and move it on the sea. The water is calm so they continue along the shoreline and go around the island. For the first time, Shiro gets a good view of the island from the sea. Cecily then suggests that they name the island. After much thought, Shiro remembers Christia's name and he decides he will name it Monte Chris Island. Cecily out of curiosity asks who that person is and he tells her she's not with him anymore as there is something she needed to take care of. Not so long, they found a strange place on the south side of the island with lots of cliffs. The water gets a bit calmer as they move towards the cliff. Suddenly, Cecily saw what looked like stairs in the back of the cave and they decided to check it out. They see it's not natural formation but clearly man-made. There are no signs of monsters or humans, but Shiro becomes scared and he holds on to Cecily. Cecily then suggests again that they look around the forest, probably they might find fruit trees. Surprisingly, they find something beyond the forest that leaves their mouth wide open. It's a magnificent building that looks like a South America ruin. Just then, the facial expression of Cecily too changed to a scary one like that of a demon. She just discovers that the building is not a ruin but a dungeon and it has never been touched before. Dungeon is a place where there's a lot of monsters, traps, and stuff. A place with plenty of treasures too. Cecily already knows at first sight because of the magic it emanates. Seeing that Cecily steps too forward towards the dungeon, Shiro thinks she wants to go in but she tells him to relax, saying she can't think of taking a dungeon by herself. She knows she needs to gather allies first but she has to do something again first. Shiro thinks of what she might be planning and then he realizes it's revenge and Cecily confirms that to be true besides the ship belongs to Cecily. Shiro again figures out revenge won't make Cecily happy but it might just be what it takes for her to move on. Shiro advises her that she needs to build a ship in order to escape the island and promises Cecily he will make her the sailcloth and get her back to the sea. Cecily also promises to come back to the island once she gets her revenge. Furthermore, she plans to get some companions and explore the dungeon as soon as possible, seeing that the potential reward in the dungeon is enormous, especially since it's an untouched one. Shiro worries if the dungeon is actually worth dying for, to which Cecily replies that a woman would risk her life for the treasure. Shiro knows it's not about gender, he's just a coward. Cecily vows she will come with people she can trust the next time she comes and not people who will want to do weird things to him. But Shiro would actually never mind if a girl pursues him forcefully, especially if she's charming and he could have a good conversation with her. This young man doesn't even mind a less energetic lady in her 30s. Cecily asks if she can stay in the inn again when the time comes, and without giving so much thoughts, he replies that he's going to set up an inn where her party could stay. Hearing that got Cecily so excited, and she names the invisible inn Shiro's inn, and she promises to pay him handsomely for it. Cecily has made a whole lot of promises, I hope she fulfills them. The idea of running an inn for people coming to the island creeps into Shiro's head and he decides to consider it. It doesn't sound bad actually. I wonder what the inn will look like. Thanks for watching till the end. Now that we have two beautiful ladies in view, which of them would you like Shiro to go for? Don't forget to drop your opinions in the comments section.